So the paper we're diving into today is Beyond Biology, Exploring the Non-Biological Criteria of Life by Joey Lawsin. It's got that bold subtitle, Defining Life Through Non-Biological Means, which definitely grabbed my attention.
Right, Joey Lawsin. And already you can tell this one is shooting for something pretty, paradigm shifting, maybe? The main issue here, like the core question, is can we define what life is without using all those traditional biological markers, like having cells or DNA?
Exactly. And it's significant because, for decades, we've measured life by, does it metabolize? Does it reproduce? Is there genetic material? But as we build more complex machines, think advanced AI or robotics, the line blurs. If you only needed biology, then anything non-biological would always be not alive. And that just doesn't seem to fit anymore.
Lawson proposes his so-called Law of Seven Inscriptions, right? That's his sequence of criteria to characterize what it means for something to be alive, living, or having life, even if, say, it's made of silicon or metal.
Yep, so let's hit those 7 stages quickly. The first is mechanization of aliveness. So, can a system self-consume and manage its own energy? Like a robot using solar panels to recharge and keep functioning without someone plugging it in.
Then you've got sensation of awareness. That's, can the thing sense its environment somehow, like cameras and touch sensors, sort of like how plants know where the sun is, except we're talking about machines, not brains.
After that is logic of intuitiveness, which I thought was pretty interesting. Here, the system should be able to process information and make basic decisions. It's not necessarily thinking like, should I go for a run? But it should be able to act on incoming information and make logic-based choices.
The next step, codification of consciousness, is a bit of a mouthful, but it's really about forming associations. If the system can associate a specific input to a specific output or group similar things together, that, Lawson says, is a sign of actual consciousness, at least in this non-biological sense.
And then there's Inlearness of information. This basically means the system can process and store information without, a traditional biological memory. The example they give is like a circuit with switches and bulbs. Simple, but able to learn states through configuration.
Right, and then, moving a step further, symbiosis of living. So, does it interact and cooperate with other systems? Kind of like ants do, but again, these are machines. They don't eat together, but maybe they share data or resources.
Finally, the kicker, emergence of self. This is where a non-biological entity recognizes itself as me versus not me. If a machine organizes and understands its own existence, that counts as the ultimate marker of having life, at least according to Lawson's model.
One thing that stood out is how each criterion builds on the one before it. There's a real progression from simple, self-sustaining machines to, in theory, self-aware, self-regulating entities.
And it really makes you question, does life have to be made of flesh and blood? If someone built a robot that ticks all these boxes, would people be willing to say, yeah, that's alive?
The methodology in the paper was actually pretty hands-on, too. There were all these simulations and setups with mechanical and electronic tests. It wasn't just philosophical, it was methodical. I mean, sometimes that aspect gets overlooked.
They do kind of gloss over the fuzzier philosophical implications, though. Would these alive machines have rights? Should we care how we treat them? I don't know. That's probably a rabbit hole for a different day. Oh, speaking of rabbits, did you ever have a pet growing up? I had hamsters.
No, I wasn't allowed. I had allergies. But I get your point. We care for them because they're alive, but maybe we're just conditioned to think of life as what we're used to.
Yeah, exactly. What Lawson's really inviting us to do is not just accept the biological definition uncritically, but to see life as a set of properties, potentially reproducible in non-biological media.
So, if you're listening and thinking, wait, is my phone alive? Well, not yet, but these criteria give us a checklist. And as research pushes boundaries, it's something to reflect on, not something to accept as gospel.
Academic work, after all, pushes us to question more than to answer. That's probably the most exciting part.
Couldn't agree more. I guess we'll just have to see where the next steps take us: biology, chemistry, geometry, or something beyond.